Welcome to DuoReads, where we decode deep ideas and break down big books one page at a time. Today we're embarking on a truly captivating exploration of James Nestor's breath, the new science of a lost art. And this isn't just about, the mechanics of how we inhale and exhale. It's about understanding the profound, often invisible ways this simple, natural act shapes our entire physical and mental well-being. Our mission today is really to distill the core wisdom from Nestor's work. You've got surprising scientific facts, ancient practices, even some personal, sometimes pretty harrowing experiments. We want to help you grasp the immense, yet frequently overlooked power of this vital, often subconscious act.
And that's exactly it. Nestor is sort of our guide here, leading us back to these fundamental breathing techniques that can unlock incredible benefits. We're talking enhanced athletic performance, dramatically reduced stress, and genuinely improved overall health. It's really about rediscovering something incredibly basic, yet so powerful that maybe we've just forgotten how to do properly.
So, what if simply changing how you breathe could redefine your relationship with life itself, sparking a transformative journey towards a more, mindful existence? It sounds almost too simple to be true, doesn't it? Okay, let's unpack this. James Nestor kicks off his book with a truly striking and, frankly, kind of disturbing discovery. He presents really compelling evidence that modern humans are arguably the worst breathers in the animal kingdom. And to really put this to the test, understand the consequences, he and his friend Olson, they embarked on this wild 10-day experiment. They intentionally forced themselves to mouth breathe, noses completely blocked with silicone plugs, surgical tape, nose clips, the works. And the results, they were immediate and just, drastic. Nestor experienced an astonishing 4,820% increase in snoring in just 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And sleep apnea events, where breathing stops and starts, they began occurring within the very first day. He also noted chronic nasal congestion, persistent fatigue, and he described the whole thing as a groundhog day of perpetual and unending misery. You really feel it when you read it.
It's a tough read, that part. But what's really fascinating is how Nestor connects this personal misery to what he calls evolutionary disevolution. Think of it like our species has undergone a negative change almost.
Right.
He argues that historical shifts in our diet, especially the move towards soft, processed foods, have led to underdeveloped jaws, narrower mouths, and constricted airways as a result. There are studies of ancient skulls like those in the Morton collection, and ones Dr. Mariana Evans looked at. They consistently show past humans had much larger facial structures, more room, and crucially superior breathing capabilities. It suggests we've literally sort of shaped ourselves into poorer breathers over time.
Huh.
And Dr. Jayakar Nayak, the specialist who checked Nestor's nose and sinuses, he even observed that the nose has been historically, undervalued in Western medicine, despite its absolutely crucial role.
That's crazy.
It really raises an important question, doesn't it? Why would we evolve in a way that seems to make us sick?
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting. Nestor broadens the scope beyond just his own discomfort. Chapter 2 details the broader, measurable health consequences of mouth breathing that both he and Olson experienced. We're talking significant increases in blood pressure, poor heart rate variability, which is a key sign of how your body handles stress,
Big indicator, yeah.
heightened overall stress levels, and a noticeable decrease in mental clarity. Just fogginess. And this isn't just, anecdotal stuff. Nestor points to Eagle P. Harvold studies with monkeys. They showed forced mouth breathing led to really striking physical changes. Elongated faces, crooked teeth, narrow dental arches.
Wow.
Mirroring exactly the kinds of things we see in humans. The implications for our kids especially are pretty profound when you think about it.
It's such a clear illustration of the difference between anaerobic and aerobic respiration and why your nose is so critical. Anaerobic is like, short bursts, inefficient energy, you burn out fast. Aerobic respiration, which nasal breathing really promotes, is more like that efficient long-distance engine, getting much more out of less effort.
Right.
Dr. John DuoReads even did tests with pro cyclists, showed that nasal breathing, even during really intense activity, significantly boosted their endurance and energy efficiency, all by promoting those vital aerobic conditions. It's about optimizing your whole internal system.
So after enduring that groundhog day of misery, as he called it, Nestor couldn't wait to switch back to nasal breathing in Chapter 3. And the relief, he says, was just profound, immediate. He saw significant improvements across the board. Blood pressure came down, heart rate variability improved, oxygen levels went up. His sleep quality drastically improved too. Those sleep apnea moments and the crazy snoring completely vanished.
Wow.
It just hammers home the immediate tangible power of simply using your nose like it was designed.
And the science behind why the nose is so vital is really cool. It's not just a passive tube for air. Your nose actively warms, moistens, and filters the air before it hits your lungs. Makes it much easier for your body to use, less irritating.
Makes sense.
And beyond that, nasal breathing plays this crucial role in regulating a whole host of bodily functions, hormones, blood pressure, even our emotional states. But what's maybe most amazing, nasal breathing significantly boosts the production of nitric oxide
Yeah, I read that part.
by sixfold. And this molecule, nitric oxide, it helps expand blood vessels and really aids oxygen absorption, so you get better oxygen delivery everywhere. It's incredible.
And it's fascinating because this isn't just modern science figuring things out. Ancient wisdom was way ahead on this. In Chapter 3, Nestor shares George Catlin's great secret of life, something he learned from Native American tribes. The absolute necessity of breathing through the nose. Always. Catlin's motto is super simple: shut your mouth. Right. And Nestor, always the experimenter, he put this into practice. Not just being conscious of nasal breathing during the day, but even trying things like mouth taping during sleep, which he found dramatically improved his sleep quality. He also talks about practical techniques like alternating nostril breathing for clarity and relaxation, stuff you can actually do.
And if we connect this back to those anatomical changes we mentioned earlier, Chapter 7 dives into solutions for those structural issues. Nestor highlights how the simple act of chewing, especially harder, more fibrous foods, like our ancestors ate.
Right, not mushy stuff.
Exactly. That chewing exerts necessary stress on facial bones, promoting proper growth, leading to wider mouths and stronger, clearer airways. He introduces these orthotropic approaches like mewing, which is basically just maintaining proper tongue posture against the roof of your mouth.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. And Nestor himself had personal success using a device called a homeoblock for a year. He says it significantly improved his bone structure, airway width, and his breathing efficiency overall. It's a powerful reminder that our bodies aren't necessarily fixed. They can adapt and improve.
Okay, so beyond the nose, which is clearly a superhero organ,
Totally.
Nestor then shifts focus to another often overlooked player, our lungs. Let's unpack what he found about lung capacity, because this might surprise you, but research shows this strong correlation between larger lung sizes and longevity. It actually surpasses factors like genetics or diet as a primary indicator of overall health.
That's huge.
It is. And it directly challenges that traditional Western medical belief that your lung capacity is fixed and just inevitably declines with age. The book powerfully argues that our internal organs, lungs included, are actually quite malleable.
Exactly. Take the incredible story of Katharina Schroth, early 1900s. She actually cured her own incurable scoliosis by using what she called orthopedic breathing. She consciously worked to expand her lung capacity, and that physical expansion literally reshaped her spinal structure.
No way.
Yeah. And then there's Carl Stuff, mid-20th century. He rediscovered what he called the forgotten art of complete exhalation, really focusing on breathing out fully. His methods didn't just help emphysema patients regain significant lung capacity and vitality, they even boosted the performance and endurance of Olympic runners. It just shows the immense power in a full exhale, something we rarely do.
Okay, now here's an idea that might initially sound a bit backwards, maybe even crazy. Chapters 5 and 6 present this notion that sometimes breathing less is actually more beneficial for your health. Nestor admits he was pretty skeptical at first when Olson, his friend, passionately claimed carbon dioxide is more crucial than oxygen for health.
Yeah, it definitely goes against the grain, doesn't it? We always think more oxygen is better. But it's easy to just dismiss CO2 as a waste product. Nestor's sources clarify its vital role. It's not just waste, it's essential for oxygen delivery to your tissues. This is known as the Bohr effect. It's a key scientific principle where carbon dioxide actually helps your red blood cells release oxygen into your cells right where it's needed. So Christian Bohr's early research showed that over-breathing, breathing too much or too fast, can lead to you blowing off too much CO2. And that actually compromises oxygen delivery and other functions, causing issues like confusion, anxiety.
So less CO2 means less oxygen gets used effectively.
Precisely. It's a paradox. Your body might be swimming in oxygen, but without enough CO2, it can't unlock it properly for the tissues. It suggests maybe we're often starved for CO2, not oxygen.
Wow. Okay, that flips things around.
Yeah.
And this concept of overbreathing, Chapter 6, draws this really interesting parallel to the rise of overeating in modern society. You know how the average American BMI shot up from maybe 22 2 way back when to like 29 today.
Right.
Nestor argues that up to 25% of us struggle with chronic overbreathing, breathing maybe 12, 20 times a minute, which is basically double what it used to be historically.
They're just doing too much of it.
It seems like it. Taking in too much air, just like too much food.
And this is where those historical practices from Indian yogis, Tibetan monks, Chinese doctors, they really shine. They all emphasized reduced, controlled breathing. Take Konstantin Buteyko's hypoventilation training. His research directly linked overbreathing to a range of chronic diseases, and his methods showed that patients who consciously learned to breathe less, aiming for around 10 times per minute with the, quote, perfect breath, identified as 5.5 breaths per minute.
5.5, that sounds slow.
It is slow, very slow compared to how most people breathe. But those patients, they were significantly healthier, reported dramatic improvements in things like asthma, hypertension. It's powerful evidence for that less is more idea when it comes to breath rate.
So, okay, what does all this mean for something like anxiety, which affects so many people? Chapter 9 offers some truly mind-blowing insights here. Nestor describes Dr. Arthur Kling's admittedly cruel experiments on monkeys back in '68. They removed their amygdala, the fear centers in the brain.
Oh, I remember reading about this.
Yeah, and it led to their demise because they literally couldn't sense danger anymore. Then he discusses the human case of SM, a woman born with a rare disease that destroyed her amygdala, resulting in this complete, almost unnerving lack of fear. She'd walk into dangerous situations.
Right, because the normal fear response just wasn't there.
Exactly. But then Dr. Justin Feinstein discovered something incredible.
No?
Even patients like SM who lack a functioning amygdala could experience fear and panic
Yeah.
purely through altered carbon dioxide levels.
Get out. Really?
Yeah. When they exposed SM to a CO2 mix, she experienced intense panic for the first time in over 30 years.
How does that even work without the amygdala?
Well, apparently there are these central chemoreceptors, like tiny sensors in your brainstem, that constantly monitor CO2 levels.
Okay.
When CO2 levels rise too quickly, they can trigger this profound, primal sense of suffocation and panic, completely bypassing the amygdala.
So it's a direct physiological alarm bell tied to CO2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which raises this huge question. What if many anxiety disorders aren't just psychological? What if they stem at least partly from unhealthy physiological responses to CO2 levels?
Wow, that connects ancient breath control, like pranayama, directly to modern anxiety treatment in a very real biological way.
Right. It's a powerful link. So as we push beyond the basics, Nestor explores some really advanced, even extreme breathing techniques in Chapter 8. He calls it Breathing Plus. This includes both extreme speed and extreme slowness of breathing. And what's remarkable is how conscious, deliberate control over your breath can directly affect your autonomic nervous system. It helps you build resilience against modern stress, giving you a level of control over your internal state that maybe you never thought possible.
And these aren't just, new age fads. They have deep historical roots and some pretty famous modern champions. Think about ancient Tibetan techniques like tumo, generating body heat in extreme cold, famously popularized by people like Wim Hof.
Yeah, the Iceman.
Exactly, demonstrating these incredible capabilities of controlled breathing to influence health, immunity. And then there's holotropic breathwork, developed by Stanislav Grof. It uses intense, prolonged, rapid breathing to induce these profound psychological and emotional shifts, often for healing mental health issues.
That was intense.
It is. And a crucial point here. While these techniques can yield truly profound benefits, they definitely aren't without risks. They should absolutely be practiced under expert guidance in safe settings, not something to just try lightly on your own.
Good point. Okay, so Nestor wraps up his journey in Chapter 10 with this really profound concept of prana, the vital life force or vital energy that's universally associated with breath across so many cultures, also known as chi or ruha. It's that animating force.
Yeah, and if you connect this to the bigger picture, ancient yoga, like the kind taught by Luis Sergio Alvarez de Ros in São Paulo, it wasn't just about the physical postures we see today. It focused predominantly on breath control, on energy management, aiming to cultivate this very prana to enhance life itself.
So the breath was central.
Absolutely central. And think back to 1970, Swami Rama's experiments at the Menninger Clinic. They were groundbreaking. He demonstrated remarkable conscious control over his own physiological functions, heart rate, body temperature, purely through meditational breathing. It suggested an underlying force, this prana, at play, something beyond just simple biochemistry. So breathing isn't just presented as biochemical or physical, it's framed as a key, a key to tapping into this universal potential for health, clarity, vitality that maybe transcends the purely mechanical view.
Wow. So, okay, let's try and recap some of the truly surprising insights from this whole exploration. We've learned how our modern diets have physically changed our faces and airways, actually hindering our natural breathing ability.
Yeah, the disevolution part.
We've seen the remarkable, protective, almost healing power of our noses, seriously underrated.
Totally.
The overlooked importance of exhaling fully, not just inhaling.
Crucial.
We've discovered why breathing less, or rather slower, can actually be more beneficial for health. That CO2 connection.
Mind-bending, that one.
And maybe most profoundly, how simply controlling your breath has this dramatic link to reducing anxiety and potentially unlocking these deeper inner states.
Yeah, the core message from Nestor's work is pretty undeniable, I think. Your breath is your most powerful, most accessible, and yeah, often most overlooked tool for well-being. Nestor encourages you to see yourself as the pilot of your body and mind, not just a passenger along for the ride.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. And small conscious changes to your breathing patterns informed by both this ancient wisdom and the modern science he explores, they can lead to really significant transformative improvements. Physical, mental, emotional health, it's all connected. It's like a pathway to reclaiming a fundamental part of your own vitality that might have gotten lost along the way.
So now that you've heard about the profound power of this lost art, what's small conscious change to your breathing will you maybe experiment with today to begin your own transformative journey?
Because this exploration really just scratches the surface. The human body's potential for healing and improvement through conscious breathing, it's immense. There's always more to learn, more to apply about your own breath, just waiting there for you to embrace in your daily life.